So one of these top three leadership mistakes, most of us don't have a dedicated headcount, particularly if you're in the big firms. Maybe if you're in the mid-tier, you've got more dedicated headcount. We're not given the mandate to do the change. It's somebody else's job very often. And this is the challenge. We to focus on the day to day to see when it's happening, but we've got a lot of same people go, we don't look after ourselves during change. Just put your hands up if looking back on the 8 months you realize that you did have not looked after yourself well enough. I'll put my hand up now. Just put your hand up. Absolutely. Yvette, Ruth, Jane, Vanetta, Imad, absolutely. Suhen, most of our hands are going up here. We do not do this self-care well enough. We do not put our needs first. And actually one of the big things about our social concerns and social concerns behavior is about status or loss of status. And one of the ways to help your brain be more effective is to put it into a reward state rather than a threat state. Now, if you've got a perceived loss of status, you go into a threat state. And one of the ways to bring it back into a reward state is to put yourself first. You're important enough to put first. Um, and 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 this is about self-care. It's more than just making sure you're at your best. Absolutely. And we've already identified that so many of us, we're not we may do a good job of a project wash up or an end of assignment review, but then it's very rare that that then gets taken on to the next one. Or if there's several of us in a department, that we're sharing that and we're learning that, and that's systematic and routine. And this is something that you can take back now to your, say if you have a regular managers meeting, or you have a regular in your service line, a regular meeting, is to say, what are we doing to learn the lessons of change? How are we making sure that we're capturing it and we're also disseminating it, so that it's not just one or two people, that we're really bringing this into how we all work? That's a great idea. Take it with my blessing. Um, but also, we don't take the time to truly understand what change really is, because there's a difference, and I'm going to come to, between change and transition. And actually, knowing where you're at with that. So, that gap analysis of where are people with this, where are they with the transition, where are they on the emotional cycle of change, can really help you to understand how are you going to motivate the team or the people that respond to you, whether that report into you, whether on an assignment by assignment basis or whether as part of your team. But as I said, we're often so focused on this day to day. We've got so much pressure to hit financial targets. Just put your hand up if those seem to have gone up through lockdown rather than down, those financial targets. Yeah, we've got Yvonne, we've got Christine saying, look, my targets are going up. And probably with a declining market in some areas, and you're thinking, what's going on here? So we often forget, because of these targets that need to build, that we often forget we've got to raise our heads above the parapet to identify, actually, where can I see opportunities? And when I said this part of this key indicator area was about our personal case, about how am I at the level of someone acting and thinking like a partner, we've got to be able to have that time just to sit back and go, hang on, what's going around us? And there's a real risk that we don't spend enough time to embed the change. So we think we get there, and then we drift back into old habits due to time constraints or staying within our comfort zone. Just put your hand up if you've known that you've kind of taken a few steps along the way, and then you often drift back into old habits. Just put your hand up if that's you. Yeah, Vanetta, Jane, Kunyar, Ruth, absolutely. Yvonne, Jan, Bavik, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we do this a lot. And this is often where having that power of a career plan, having that accountability through a coach can really, really help you. And so often as a leader, we make that mistake of letting ourselves get drained. We go down a dead end, and part of that dead end is about being drained. And because there's often so much to do with the time of change. Just put your hand up at the beginning of lockdown. You were in back-to-back conference calls from home at the beginning of lockdown. Yeah, Ruth was. Anybody in the big four was. I know anybody in the big law firms were. Absolutely. You were just sitting there on 12 hours of back-to-back conference calls as everybody worked out what they were going to do and how they were going to do it. There was little time, wasn't there, to actually look after yourself. Even though people were telling you, you've got to manage your mental health. There's no way to manage your mental health if you're on continual Zoom conference calls for 12 hours, sometimes 6-7 days a week.